gonna get it right one day. Hey, remember how many times you used to do the messages for your voicemail? It goes something like this. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for locking into another episode of I'll Piss You Off Shortly. This is the podcast where we debate everyday issues, pushing your thought process beyond what's normal. The topics discussed here are meant to be intense, promote growth, and at times may have you feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Me too, a little bit. We may not always agree, and we will more than likely have varied opinions. But with that being said, I can't promise to be your favorite podcaster. Neither do I want to. But I can promise to be transparent, fair, and open-minded. So please, if you think you've got the stamina, passion to debate, analyze, and challenge the normal, please take a number. I promise you, I'll piss you off shortly. Hey, mama, I got a podcast. Hey, I got a podcast. Hey, I got a podcast.
I'm here to protest this corruption. We want to stop the steal. We want a free election. We want Donald Trump in office.
So can you explain what happened today?
Today, we come up here to the Capitol steps. Tried to get in the Capitol. They started gassing us and macing us. We kept trying to hold the line and go up to the state Capitol. We want to be heard. That's all we want to do is be heard. Nobody wants to listen. They want to gas and mace us.
Well, go ahead. What's going to happen, do you think, after that?
I don't know. I think they stopped their vote in there. They evacuated it, what they said. So I don't know yet. I hope they overturn this and at least give us some days to find out about the corruption and prove what happened.
Let me talk so we don't get copyrighted. Probably
I'm
too
here to
late.
support the president. I think the election was a fraud, and I think it's clear that the election's a fraud, and we're not going to stand for it.
Once again, you're listening to the I'll Piss You Off Shortly podcast.
What are we here for? To stop the steal.
And what happened today?
I'm not sure, but it looks like they stormed the Capitol. People broke through and raced through the building, and then the legislators got scared and left. So we didn't certify for Joe Biden, so that's good. I don't know what happened because I can't get any source. I can't get any internet on my phone. But I think patriots are really standing up. I'm super happy that they're standing up, and people are really pissed off because we know how much cheating took place. If he would have won fair and square, I think we would be fine, but we can't let them overthrow our country.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of I'll Piss You Off Shortly podcast. This is episode 25, Domestic Terrorists. And guess what? I am Rob, your host with the most, your most favorite host, Rob Benjamin. And I also have Joe Guire. And I have two special guests. They are going to be starting a new podcast on the CMG network every Friday night. Excuse me, gentlemen, for not remembering the name of the podcast, but I have Frank and Carlos of the
Speaking It Real podcast.
Speaking It Real podcast. Fellas, I appreciate you guys coming up with us tonight on such a historic, unfortunate, diabolical, happening in history. I'll say that. We'll keep it light for right now. So thank you guys for joining. And thank you guys, listeners, for tuning in. Let's get right to the shits. I started this episode with this video because I wanted everybody to see how dumb, how foolish, how ignorant, how just like I've been calling them buffoons. You know what I mean? Like buffoons, imbeciles. Like this is exactly what MAGA is representing. This is what they have brought to the table, and this is what they have represented for the past, let's say, 4 to 5 years, right? Because MAGA just didn't start when he got elected. It was, a good year at least before that. And honestly, the MAGA mentality hasn't just started with him. It's been there. He was just Trumpito was the one to bring it out. But for all you guys that don't know, we'll give you kind of a little background. Frank, below me right there, he was a former Trump supporter. He voted for Trump 2016. I don't believe he voted for Trump this year. Carlos, I'm not sure what your political stance are. We just met tonight. So please, fellas, go ahead. We'll start with Carlos. We'll let you introduce yourself, then we'll go to Frank. How about that?
Cool. This is my first go around at any kind of podcasting, so I'm gonna probably sound like an amateur ass, and I'm okay with that. You only get better as you do this.
Facts.
That's fine by me. Fiscally conservative, socially liberal. I did not vote for Biden. It's already given us 47 years of garbage. I didn't think we needed to give him 4 more, but whatever. Here we are, and I'm okay with that. In terms of how the election went down, we've had the discussion. I think Joe and I talked a little bit. Sure, they took it to courts. He pushed every legal challenge that he had, and that's fine. This isn't the first time a candidate who's lost has done that. This has been done numerous times, so I don't have an issue with that. He strongly feels how he feels. We know that he's going to shoot his mouth off on his emotion, on how he feels about the election. So be it. My issue is, I think our election process, and not just this year, you could say any year, with so many different ways of submitting ballots and signatures and all that bull crap, it's just there has to be a better way. There's got to be a simpler way for us to honestly just have more faith in the entire process. So you can say what you want about buffoonery and all that, but at the end of the day, this is the kind of stuff you breed when nobody's sure about what's going on. And that's kind of like the simple outlook I got on it.
Go ahead, Frank. I'll let you go, and then we'll get to that.
Look, simple. I voted for Trump in 2016. All right? His actions have spoken for themselves. All right? He doesn't know when to shut his mouth.
No.
All right? And you know what? This is why we're where we're at today.
Okay. So when we say this is where we're at today, of course, we're going to talk about, first of all, let's set the basis of what the fuck happened, right? And fellas, this is an open platform. You speak freely here. I'm not going to, I'm not going to promise you that. I'm going to treat it as my platform. If you get disrespectful, I'll kick you the fuck off this shit, point blank, period. Only person that can get disrespectful on this shit is me. So yeah, like that's the caveat to that. So anybody but I mean, we can definitely get into discussions. But you know what I mean? So I just want to put that out for the viewers too and listeners. So like if somebody does get booted, they can't be like, oh, you're blocking his freedom of speech. Well, I'm not. This is my fucking shit. So I can do what I want on my show. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know what I mean? We'll talk about what the fuck happened, right? What the fuck happened, point blank, period. Everybody knows. Conservatives took over the United States Capitol. And terroristic approaches and terroristic threats. And when I say that, they did make terroristic threats to include the president. And let's face it, this was, like I said, buffoonery. And I say that, right, because Carlos, you stated it before, and this is no shyness in history, right? The elections have always been some kind of, there's always been questions, right? Whether it was Hillary questioning, the election last year to Bush and Gore, right? So we always have these things, and I can't agree with you that there has to be a more stable situation of voting, right? Mm-hmm. I'm of the belief that we could probably do voting on phone. You know what I'm saying? Like if we can file taxes and everything else electronically, there's other ways that we can do voting. I think voting by mail and paper ballots is very old, and there's no, you know what I'm saying? I will not disagree with that. Right. But after many of attempts of trying to fight this legally, there were now prove me wrong. And I'll give you a chance. Were there any proven points of malicious voting that would have affected the change of this election?
Truth be told, I have no idea. And here's what I mean. The way the public received the information on the challenges, and again, mind you, I didn't come prepped. I'm sure I could have looked into it. I was actually just expecting to come in and say hi with Frank, but we're going to talk. Fine.
We're talking.
So The way I received the information was he was challenging in court and the courts were dismissing. I don't know how much, and if anybody wants to clarify, because I think part of what we do here is learn. Also, not just to bicker and bash down each other's points. Through all those challenges, though, there was a ton of dismissals. So either A, his legal team did a lousy job, which seems to be the case, or B, and I truly believe the human condition when I say a lot of courts didn't want to deal with this. So how much do we know? I don't think we were able to see enough data or see enough just like the meat and potatoes of what went down in all the counting. We've heard stories, vans showing up late at night, electors being told to go home, and there's corroboration there. So you can't just dismiss that either. You can't just say, oh no, that shit didn't happen. Well, hundreds of people are saying it did in different places. So we still believe in Christ today because 4 people wrote a book that said he came back 3 days later. Hundreds of people are telling you that this happened. So
my question, right to that point, right? And I Joe, I know you want to go ahead, Joe. I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's to suggest that the courts didn't want to get involved is to not understand how courts work. Plain and simple, you go in, you present evidence, the judge looks at it, he either takes the case or he throws it out. If there's evidence, they take the case. If you don't have a case, they throw it out. To suggest otherwise, Carlos, is an insult to my wife's a lawyer. It's an insult to the law profession. And I understand, again, this is that misinformation that gets spread around. That sounds like, okay, right? That seems like a legitimate thing. Oh, maybe the courts didn't want to get involved. The military didn't want to get involved. They were very clear about that in not wanting to have troops at the Capitol for the certification. They thought it was bad optics. And I totally get that. However, most of the states are Republican run. They all certified the election. It was the Republicans in Pennsylvania who changed the constitution of that state to allow for expanded mail-in balloting. It was their choice. Same thing in Georgia. So again, they try to present this like there's some grand conspiracy when if you ignore what these guys are telling you and you look it up for yourself. I thought it was particularly stunning in both the House and in Congress. Representatives of both the Republican and Democratic Party of Pennsylvania had to explain to their Republican colleagues that the stuff that they were saying was not true, and they continued to repeat it in the House after this insurrection, which to me is mind-blowing because those people had every intention of killing all of them, Democrat or Republican, because they are in a Trump cult, and they will believe anything Donald Trump says. Period.
So, Joe, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you seen, I'm not asking about what the courts decided. Have you seen anything evidence-wise, statistic-wise, material-wise to completely back up what you're saying?
Yes.
None of us have.
We have.
No,
we have. I mean, again, you can. There was a whole telephone call with the president and the Secretary of State of Georgia, where and he's a Republican, and he voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
They went through the numbers. You know how many dead voters they actually found in Georgia? The president suggested the number was about 4,500. There was one, and they debunked it. It just happened to be a person with the same name of a person who had died. Mm-hmm. So 0 there. There were 2 in the entire state where the signature didn't match the outside of the envelope. 2. So we're talking about 3 fraudulent votes in Georgia. Are there fraudulent votes in every election, Carlos? Yes. Massive fraud that would change the outcome of the election? No. We've never seen any evidence of it. They did 3 counts in Georgia. The last count was by hand. They literally counted every vote by hand. Democrats sitting with Republicans in groups. There was no fraud. If there was fraud, Carlos, I tell you right now, I would have been at the steps of the Capitol with you. But there was no evidence.
Well, I wasn't there, just to be clear.
No, I'm saying I would have grabbed you and I'd be like, Carlos, let's do this. Now listen.
FBI, if you're watching, I was not there.
I want to point out that these 2 fine gentlemen on the show tonight, Rob, are both of Cuban descent. Okay. And that's important for one reason and one reason only. They have a long history and a very negative connotation of socialism. And I don't blame either one of you or any Cuban American who feels that way.
Can I ask a question real quick?
You may.
And I think it might set a good groundwork just for the audience, right? Coming from socialism, what is your guys' interpretation of socialism? Just so everybody has an idea of where you guys are coming from. And then I'm going to go with the other side too.
It's pretty much a dictatorship. It's one says it and that's it. That's, there's no other in betweens. There's not like here where you could say one thing and we could agree, or disagree. It's, hey, listen, like right now, my shirt, right? It's black.
Good old, yep.
Good old shirt, right? It's black. Hey, listen, and we'll use Rob. It's his show, right? Rob, you say it's red. You know what? I can't argue that with you. It's red. But it's really black. You follow what I'm saying? It's a dictatorship. It's a, hey, this is what it is. This is how it's going to happen. I don't give a shit. Right. I'm going to take away your food. I'm going to take away your privileges. You're not going to have anything. And that's what happened with, with my parents, and also with Carlos's, so, background that we come from, it's in our mind where it's like, okay, wait a minute, this is what this is.
So when you hear that word, that's what it automatically just goes to.
It's communism, right? It's communism.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, Frank pretty much gave you like the fastball down the middle approach. I believe in a country like this, especially, it's slowly encroaching, just power and control from the government. And it just goes through takeover of little industry by industry, excess on regulations, making the government bigger, making more rules on things until eventually they're big enough to where they're calling the shots on everything, which is pretty much how socialism works. And see, a lot of people, and Joe and I had this little spat the other day when we met. It was a good talk. He started saying, oh, the fire department and police, that's democratic socialism. I'm like, no, that's just that's taxpayer funded protection. They don't produce anything. When you start calling the shots on how things need to start being made, produced, regulated, then you're getting into state controlled territory, which is socialism. And so this is where I was at the beginning, where I said I'm fiscally conservative but socially liberal. I as far as societal things go, how we as a people behave and discuss and agree and disagree, I'm very flexible. I'm like, whatever, man. But as far as how businesses are treated and things of that nature, I want as little government involvement as possible. And so the bigger they get, the more nervous we get.
Now, do you think that there shouldn't be any kind of like moderation?
Yeah, here's, and I've had this conversation a few times, and I'm glad you asked that. There should be moderation for one thing and one thing only: fair competition. And so what happens is, for that to happen, you're going to have a whole group of elected officials that are absolutely benevolent. Like the only thing they care about is everybody getting a fair shot at success. Mind you, I said fair shot at success, not equal outcome. Fair shot at success. So that's where, if there's going to be moderation, I would say it'd have to be there and there only. But that's not what's going to happen, and that's not what usually happens. They have an agenda. They want things done, and they start pushing things, and then companies that favor their agenda start to win and lose, and before you know it, they're calling the shots. Right now, private companies are making a killing from breaks and things like that. I hear that complaint a lot. But eventually the power will shift to the government, where they're telling companies what to do if we let that happen. So back to your question, that's how I see socialism. It's like just the bigger the government gets, the more nervous I get.
So out of all the years that the United States government has been established, where, and from everybody's knowledge, right? And I'm not going to sit there and make it seem like I'm a big government nut and economics major and all that shit, right? Because I'm not. I'm just a dude that, you know what I mean? Like that talks shit and just knows a lot about a little bit of shit, right? Or a little bit about a lot of shit, right?
Mhm.
But like our government's not set up that way. That's the whole reason why we have elections every 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you got to, it's right. It's literally like the market. You got to ride this market out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And every year it has that chance to reset itself and rebalance itself, even in the sense. Joe, you look like you had something to.
Well,
you're boiling. I just want to get that little.
There are 3 self-described socialists out of 535 Congress people, and there's about 160 Tea Party conservatives who want their Judeo-Christian ultra-conservative values to rule the day. They will not negotiate with moderate Republicans. They will not even talk to liberals. That's a non-starter. You're okay with that, Carlos, but you're worried about 3 socialists snowballing into total government control.
You're making a couple of assumptions
behind that.
You're making a couple of assumptions. You're trying to make it sound as if 3, which is actually I think 5 or 6 now, but the number's growing. Let's not be coy. Also, even if you're not a self-avowed socialist, as you're trying to say, we know how political parties work. It's all about control, and they'll adopt a lot of the policies of those 6 people if it means securing control of the houses. And I'm not going to get into hypotheticals, but we've heard the talk. They want to add states. They want to add senators. They want to pack court.
It's talk. It's talk that all originates. It originates in your echo chamber, and you guys start to believe it. That's what's happening.
They are the ones saying it.
Carlos, they're not, because if they were, I'd be like, what the fuck? I would stop that. I would call them out every fucking time.
You're not saying that because
it's not happening. Carlos, you go find me some video where any of those fucking people are saying any of that stuff, my man. If you can find it, I will run it 24/7 and I'll disavow it and we'll tear down the establishment. This is a lot of misinformation being fed over and over again in conservative circles. I have this conversation with my mom on a weekly basis. My mom is like caught in a Fox News rabbit hole she can't get out of. And when she wants to find somebody objective, she goes to Newsmark or OAN, and I'm like, no, Mom, it's getting worse because CNN's the devil, and it's all liberal propaganda. But as I told you, Carlos, CNN just presents facts that conservatives don't like, and so they flip the fuck out about it.
So I'm looking at an article right here from the Post, not conservative. The headline is pretty clear. Why are some Democrats seriously considering court packing? This is not a figment of our imagination. This is a conversation.
Stolen, and it's 6-3, and you don't want a conservative. If you're a social liberal, why would you want a conservative court? That will not achieve any of your social goals.
This goes back to the process, which is what Rob was talking about. This is how we balance power. The thing is, for me personally, you asked a good question. And this is just my take. I think society can handle its own. I believe if the government fiscally is not functioning, the societal aspect of it will also not function. That's why I would prefer a conservative court. Now, I don't agree with everything they do. Don't get me wrong. But again, I think if this country is fiscally sound, then I think society has a better chance of taking care of itself. That's why I would prefer it that way. But you cannot sit here and tell me, well, you can say whatever you want, but this notion that the concept of court packing and state increasing and all that is a figment of imagination. I'm looking at an article from the
Post. Know anybody. I literally don't know anybody that's for it. And Joe Biden couldn't have been any clearer that he's against it.
Yeah, I was.
That should literally alleviate all your fears and concerns.
Again, if you want to keep power, and some of the people in that,
but again, you're only buying into it because that message has been pounded into your head for months. Yes.
But it's there, and they're saying it. So
no, but he said he's not.
No, the Post is saying it. Who are they quoting in the article? Tell me, name the liberals that are saying they should do it. Which liberal said it? I would love to know. I'll out him right now.
And that's
what liberals are for court packing. I don't believe in court packing. I think it's awful.
And it's not like it'll be the first time this has been tried. I mean, this is not new. So
yeah, we started with 5 Supreme Court justices. We're up to 9. That again doesn't surprise me. I'll tell you, I also have an issue with 9 people deciding pretty much everything in this country.
Did we talk about this? I believe we touched
on it a little bit.
We can talk about it here. Let's keep going.
We talked about what we did talk about was terms.
Yes,
terms.
Term limits, baby.
Man. Okay. See, that right there would be probably one of the greatest things that can happen, period. And we even extended that to the justices.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need to go after a certain age. If that's the body that's going to have the long-term non-elected system, fine. But after what? 65, 70 years old? Go.
But even then,
after legal retirement age.
You have exactly, and I look at it this way: you have those justices that have been there so long. That's an old mindset. As the older you get, that's the same mindset that you stick in. I don't care how old you know what I'm saying, where you are. That's the mindset you stick in. You cannot get progressively better as a country and develop with the same old mindsets, and that's where we're stuck at, right? We're stuck, and you brought it up, right? And just to be clear, Carlos, I know me and you haven't met. I'm not a Biden fan at all. I solely pump Biden up to get fucking Trump out of office. I definitely have a lot of gripes, and if you check a couple episodes, I've definitely got at Biden, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so he just happened to be the catalyst to get rid of this disease that we had in the government, right?
He was the lesser two evils, as I call it.
And not even that, because they were both evil in their own way. They're both evil. They're both evil. But yes, he is less. He's not Trump. But you know what I'm saying. But in that regards, shit. Where was I going with that?
Sorry,
I lose my. No, you're good, Frank. You're good. Anyways, fuck. I lost my damn train of thought.
Well, while you think about that, Joe, real quick. I mean, this is just quick search. I mean, we could do this a little more extensively. In this article, you got a tweet from Joe Kennedy III, representative. If he holds a vote in 2020, we pack the court in 2021. It's that simple. That's a tweet. That's a tweet. But we need to reform the Supreme Court in a way that will strengthen its independence and restore the American people's trust in it as a check to the presidency and Congress. That's Buttigieg. So,
but he didn't say anything about court packing there.
No, I would say
that tweet had nothing to do with court packing. I'm going to call bullshit on that.
Well, no. Kennedy clearly said it. It's right there.
Kennedy said it. I'll give you Kennedy.
Kennedy said it.
Fine.
And that's where I
won't give you the second one. Give me another one.
But and that's where I was going with that.
I'll be happy to look for more, but we've only got so much time. And I'm just saying hi.
2 examples cited. One's horseshit and one legitimately okay. He said it. Joe Kennedy's career's not going anywhere fast, and I'll be sure. Well, we'll out Joe Kennedy and any insane thoughts that Joe Kennedy has going forward. We'll keep a good eye on him. We're not going to court pack. That's not how it works.
And that's what I was going to say with the court packing. The court packing only came about because of all the judicial news in the past, 2 years between Kavanaugh and then the other chick, right? I think outside of that,
Merrick Garland. I mean, Obama had every right to nominate his guy, Merrick Garland, and the Republicans were like, "Go fuck yourself."
So yeah, maybe it started from there. So thanks for that.
Definitely started from there.
Now, not moving on, but kind of like shifting gears into this whole terroristic avenue of approach that happened this past Wednesday. My question is, especially Frank and Carlos, you guys could probably answer this. Where's the accountability? And it sounds like you guys are both against the actions that have been taking place against the Capitol, the assault on the Capitol. But like, where with conservatives and MAGA, first and foremost, they initially threw the blame on Antifa, which they love to go quickly do. Like, that's the first thing they like to do. Oh, Antifa this, Antifa that, right? But like, as conservatives or Republicans, of that mindset, do you guys still align? Can you guys still consider yourselves aligning with Trump and that agenda? Or do you fall on the side of, I'm a Republican, but this is too far out. I can't even, like, Carlos, I assume that since you didn't vote for Biden, you voted for Trump. Do you kind of regret that now, seeing that this is the outcome? That we all knew that definitely that this is what he had in him for years past, but now that this has come out to light, you kind of look at this and do you hold yourself accountable at any point for for even building this into this guy for voting and putting a battery in this guy's back?
I mean, no, at the time of the election, none of this was happening. So
when you say none of this,
let me ask you a question. We're talking about like the incident.
Well, yeah, of course, the Capitol had happened, but what this hostility has been there. This tension is already.
But
you can't deny that. You can't deny that.
No, the hostility is there. He's not a soft speaker. I get it. He pisses people off.
He's a fucking idiot.
If you're gonna tell me that the hostility over the last 4 years came from him and him alone, I'm gonna call bullshit.
So where else?
Bullshit.
Okay,
it's been coming from everywhere. Have you watched TV? People are just getting slandered and insulted.
Dude, he's the worst of them.
Yeah, but you know what?
Okay. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Listen,
so honest to God, that's the most unreasonable thing you've said tonight. You've done a nice job, Carlos.
No, Joe. No.
Not admit that Donald Trump is the biggest agitator of them all is that's just dishonest. It really is.
I think they've all been agitators. That's the point. I'm not going to sit there and just like blame one person. There's been a series of agitations going on for years from everybody. Everybody has lost the ability to talk. All of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay.
Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
All right. Carlos is saying it's not just one person. All right. Now, this is the way I'm going to look at it. All right. You have Trump as the leader of the fucking terrorists, because that's what the fuck I'm going to call him right now. A goddamn terrorist.
Rightfully so.
Right?
Rightfully so.
Or I could use Joe's words, a fucking cult. Whichever one you want. All right? And then you have his followers. What the followers do? They go based on what their leader says.
They follow.
All right? They follow. Okay? If he says jump, his followers are going to say how high. Okay? So accountability for all this starts at the top, all right, with Trump, all right, and trickles down.
And it doesn't just stop from Trump and then goes down to the civilians. It goes Trump, all those other bullshit fucking politicians that don't deserve to be in office, that hyped this hysteria, that decided to go ahead. And even though they knew all these claims were false of stop the steal and all this shit, they decided to continuously push this agenda and bring it to the court floor to sit there and continuously act like this was something true. So it goes from Trump to all those bullshit politicians, to include what's his name, Rubio or whatever his fucking all those fucking idiots. Lindsey Graham, Graham actually backtracked it, which I knew he was going to do. But you know, all those dudes, Mr. White Power himself, the young boy that got his book deal taken away. I don't take value into learning these idiots and terrorist names, because that's what Josh Hawley, you know, you little bitch. And you know, that's another thing for all these tough talking fucking politicians that always want to get rah during BLM. Y'all was hiding like some fucking pussies. There was only one politician, and he was a Republican, that I can give fucking kudos for. And he was up there with fucking Secret Service boarding up the fucking door. So for a fucking Rubio and Lindsey Graham and all these other rah, hard-ass, badass fucking politicians that are hard behind a fucking mic, y'all are fucking pussies. Your own people coming for your ass, and y'all fucking running and hiding. So mixing with all that other bullshit, right? So the accountability is just like that snowball shit falls right along, right? And I'm sorry, everybody that voted for him, y'all have a piece of that. Y'all have to eat some of that, because y'all built that hysteria. And for you to say, Carlos, that these things weren't happening, you know, before this happened, I'm sorry, I got to disagree, because this hysteria, this buildup of this leader, he has pushed this agenda. What, Charlottesville? You want to go before that? Even when he's still attacking Obama for what? For what? And he doesn't attack Clinton. He doesn't attack anybody else. He swears that he hates Bush, doesn't attack Bush, but it's Obama's agenda, right? So it's just like, I'm sorry, that's a cop-out.
So you can honestly sit there and tell me that for the last 4 or 5 years, all divisive and instigative language has come from him. We got tons of politicians on record constantly accosting people, telling them, hey, what was it? What was her name? Waters.
Maxine Waters?
Telling people wherever they are, find them, make them uncomfortable, do what you got to do. I mean, the instigative language has gone on from
What does
all
that
of them.
mean?
Okay. So find them and make them uncomfortable versus
I mean, I don't have the
stand
exact
back and
quote on
stay
it.
by. And you know, these good people. Oh,
Again, there's a big
racist and
difference.
everything are good people.
There's a big difference between a call to violence and calling for civil unrest. And if you don't know what the difference is, I don't know if I can help you. But again, Carlos, I've talked to you plenty at this point. You're a smart guy. I suspect that you know that what Maxine Waters said and did is not even close to being on the level of what Donald Trump day in and day out for 4 years has done. Here's my thing. You're the party of person responsibility. I've been in it my whole life, right? We're the party of person responsibility. You want no person of responsibility in supporting a guy who behaved this way for 4 straight years, who told you exactly who he was, exactly what he was going to do. Trump deranged syndrome is what you people have, that you keep on buying the bullshit. They're like, I take real issue with that. I'll tell you right now, Carlos, I never thought in my fucking lifetime would I vote for a Democrat for president, and I voted for Hillary Clinton, who I had a lifetime of hatred for, and Joe Biden, who I agree with you, never really got shit done when he was in office. But you know what? They're going to be better than he was. Plain and simple. The country's going to go in a better direction. People like me can calm the fuck down a little bit. My wife can sleep at night. Minorities don't have to, Mexicans don't have to worry about getting picked up in a fucking, you drop your kid off at school, you're driving home, you get pulled over by a cop, and you're in fucking Mexico tomorrow. That's the bullshit your guys doing. You can't feel good about that. Stop that.
And you back to
Stop that. Carlos, give me a little self-reflection and tell me, all right, there's 1 or 2 things I didn't like. Just give me one or two.
No. Hold on. I'm not going to sit here and say he was perfect. Are you kidding me?
All over the place tonight.
No. I'm not going to sit here and say he was perfect. I knew. See, I think mentally, I'm just being honest, you know, in voting for him, the thing I took away immediately was I knew he wasn't a politician. So I didn't expect him to sound like one. I didn't expect him to talk like one. And that's exactly what I got. So a lot of the things he was saying, it didn't faze me. And I wasn't concerned. What I did like was the policies he was coming out with. I'm not going to lie. I think policy-wise, if you remove his mouth, he wasn't doing too bad until
Which
COVID.
policies were that?
He was definitely doing the tax cuts. I'm sorry. I know there's this whole nonsense about the 1%. I benefited, and I'm definitely not 1%. They helped me out. Low unemployment numbers for everybody.
Real quick, to the tune of how much more are you seeing with the tax cut? I mean, honestly,
that's what I was just about to
I
say.
mean, all right, look, I mean, we don't want to get into. We're gonna get into like personal details. Of
I don't want.
I would
give me a number. Is it $100 a week? About $200 a week? What was the number that you were comfortable with sacrificing other people's civil rights? What was your dollar amount that you were
civil rights?
Seriously?
No. I mean, as far as the check, I'm trying to understand where that came from.
So here's the argument I hate most from conservatives right now. And some of my best friends and I have had this conversation, and I'll have it with you. There's not a dollar figure the Republicans could offer me that would allow me to see the way they treat black people in this country, the way women are still paid 70 cents to the dollar. The Republicans can't bribe me with like $50 a week extra in my paycheck. Here, keep a little bit more of your money and fuck everybody else. There was a time where I was down for that kind of thing. I'm not anymore. I have 3 daughters. I have to look my daughters in the eyes and be like, this piece of shit's the president. And the shit that he says about people and I have a relative who's transgender. That shit's been really hard on everybody. The president needs to pick on fucking transgender people. I mean, he's the most classless piece of shit on earth. Are you serious? I mean, why does he suck Vladimir Putin's dick? That doesn't bother you at all, Carlos? That he sucks that guy's cock? Blah, blah, blah. You can't feel good about that, bro. Please tell me you don't feel good about. Tell me we at least agree on that shit.
No, of course we agree on that. The point is, though,
Oh, good.
when I
All
hear
right.
you,
I
Joe,
like you.
Joe,
I like
Joe,
you, man. I do.
No, when I hear you, man, I mean, I love your passion, and my take, and this is why I figured, all right, sit through it. You know, I'm completely just, hey, how you doing? But I always say somewhere between your ideas and my ideas lies the pot of gold.
A million percent.
And so, yeah, we're going to say a lot of shit to each other, and we're going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so
yes, I was trying to teach Carlos blowjobs, Ovi.
That's all right. You know, and so
sloppy ones too.
Sloppy Tommy.
So, you know, and when I hear you talk about like what you were just complaining about, I can't help but feel like, you know, you've been watching a lot of the news as well. And so, you know, I don't take a lot of that stuff seriously. Sorry. I don't see it all that way. I don't. They benefited me, and like you, I've got girls, and you know, we're going to sit here and talk about what this asshole says to other people in a bus while we voted for a guy who's got a complete knack of sniffing babies' hairs. Are you cool with that? Would you let Joe Biden take care of your daughter?
100%. Yeah.
Old white dude, shake hands.
Dude,
that was it, dude.
He can sniff hair. Grab him by the pussy. He's got 20 fucking accusations of rape, my man. Let's not play this game.
Carlos,
you don't want to play the rape game.
Your daughter comes. Here we go.
20.
No, we get real life scenario. You said you have a daughter, Carlos.
No way.
No. Carlos, you said you have a daughter.
20.
Your daughter comes home and says, somebody sniffed my hair. Versus your daughter come home and says, somebody grabbed me by the pussy. Which one is going to piss you off more?
Listen. Let's not be coy. No. Let's not be coy.
Let's be real.
Hold up. All right. When Donald Trump said what he said about that, we understand the circles that he was involved in. All right. That man had money, and he goes to parties where women do, in fact, do that kind of stuff. Who remembers back in the day?
That woman specifically? Was that woman specifically?
What woman specifically? He was talking about women in general at a particular event. Listen, did we all go to concerts way back in the day?
Yep.
What were the stories about the girls who needed to get through security to meet the band?
I have no
exactly.
That's none of my that's what I'm saying.
No.
I don't associate with it. That's the difference. I don't associate with it.
Describing is exactly what happens.
So those are the people that you align with. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. You're assuming
you
that.
Did. You align with them.
That's
who you align with. Somebody that does that.
No, I'm not aligning with it. I expect it from him though.
So you were
still to me, he was still a lesser evil than most of Washington. Again, you want to talk about a guy? You want to talk about a guy who's at a party with a bunch of gold diggers versus a man who has quite a few documented videos of him straight up just getting into little girls' heads and just how's that sniffing them. And
Donald Trump doesn't know how to get women who aren't gold digging whores because he's a disgusting.
Joe, you know, we can sit here all day and talk about that, but for us to pretend for us to pretend that politicians in Washington, a lot of them, I'm not going to say all, I don't believe in broad brushing. I think every group has their few, but for us to sit here and believe that the fuckers in Washington are sanctimonious and all.
Oh, no one's saying anything like that.
Then honestly,
I don't know where you're coming up with that.
It's a wasted conversation on trying to critique one man because of what he does with a woman.
He's the fucking president of the United States.
And senators, you got senators and congressmen that do the same goddamn thing.
Once again,
the president, though, Carlos.
Hold on.
We got 26.
If this is the man that's trying to date your daughter, are you happy with it?
He is.
I wouldn't have dated my daughter, just like I wouldn't have another man sniffing my little girl's hair.
But this is the guy that you voted for to be president, to be the leader of the free world.
You voted for a guy who sniffs babies. I still don't understand your outrage.
Babies versus, let me ask you a question.
I mean, first of all, act like he's doing it all fucking like weird and sick.
Have you seen the footage?
I have seen the footage.
And you're not telling me that shit ain't weird. You had what's his name's daughter, Chris Coon's daughter, backing away like this man's an absolute creep.
My daughters do that when my father tries to hug them.
And there's videos and
snuggle their
pictures
faces.
of Trump's own daughter doing that.
Dude,
Trump's
you
own
are
daughter.
wow. Listen,
look,
you don't equate those two things. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, Carlos.
Gold digging.
Carlos, how can you compare those two things? I mean,
Easy.
You're losing me, bro. You're losing me fast.
I don't expect to keep you. That's the whole point.
Oh my lord!
No
way. Fucking trying to.
All right, look.
Wow.
All right, Joe Biden sniffs little kids' hairs. You know what? Little girl, little boy, whatever the hell you want to call it. Okay, you want to sniff the hair? Hey, you like the way the hair smells? Okay, fine. We have 26 women accusing Trump, of sexual misconduct.
Okay, and was he charged for any? Was he charged with any? This could be the same argument.
You're right.
The same precedent we used on the whole fraudulent election. Was he charged? Did they find anything? Then it's just crap.
Some of those he couldn't be charged for because of statute of limitations.
Okay, so we'll never know. But at the end of the day, he hasn't been charged with anything, just like they didn't find fraudulent votes. If you're going to apply a mentality to something, you apply it to everything or you don't bother.
Where do you?
You're the one that brought up the sniffing, bro.
But
I don't even talk
on video.
Look,
it's on video.
I don't have a dog.
No, I don't listen.
I will tell you this.
You've seen isolated incidents pieced together in a video, and I mean, I don't listen. Here's the other thing about you fucking people that blows my mind. Your obsession with pedophilia is fucking it's striking. It's all over. Hold on. Yeah. It is all over right-wing media. You got people shooting up pizzerias. I mean, fucking obsessed in a weird fucking way with pedophilia. I don't know what the deal is that you'll throw a pass for a fucking rapist, but pedophilia, that's I mean.
Joe, there you go again, though. There you go again. I get what you're saying, and he was caught on mic saying it. However, he said that they let him. Technically, man, if they let him, it's not rape. Number two, he hasn't been charged. So we can assume all day that he did, but I mean, he has not
because he hasn't been charged. So let me ask you, how do you feel about O.J. Simpson?
Thank you.
How do you feel about I love that example. That's my favorite example.
Come on.
No, it's true. Hey, at the end of the day, we all think he's guilty, but he wasn't charged.
Yeah. Would you let your daughter date O.J.?
No.
Would you let Casey Anthony babysit your kid?
No. No.
So again, you can make the leap from somebody who wasn't convicted to they're a fucking scumbag. You've done it twice. I appreciate it.
You can do the same thing though. What I'm saying is you're using that same mentality on the election. Oh, there's no fraud. It was never proved in court. Well, okay. Guess what? You can call the man whatever you want, but it was never proved in court. All I'm saying is be consistent with how you apply.
I've read detailed accusations, affidavits from all of these women, and I have to tell you, the stories are all kind of ring true. The same kind of MO.
Oh, so now
method of attack.
Now you're depending on corroboration.
These are that's what you do with evidence. You corroborate it. That's how evidence works.
And this
if you don't know how evidence works,
the election.
If you don't know how evidence about the election, if you don't know how evidence works, it's going to be a hard conversation to have.
This is exactly what I was saying about the election.
Hold on, Carlos. An accusation is made. You find evidence. You corroborate it. It's either true or it's false. In the case of the election, well, we know how that turned out. 62 court cases, 0 wins for Trump. Now,
with corroborating stories.
Right. Corroborating. What are you even fucking talking about? But it was all dismissed as fucking nonsense.
Okay.
So the difference between the horse shit you're talking about and these women who have accused Trump, none of their lawsuits were thrown out. That's the difference.
When they come out and he gets charged, fine. But as far as I know, politicians get flung accusations all the time. Nothing ever bears out.
Too. Where's all these accusations at everybody?
They usually during election seasons, there's always a charge or an accusation from somebody.
Sure. Hold on. Yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Do you remember when they accused Bob Mueller of raping a woman? And they debunked that shit in about 45 fucking minutes when they established that she said it happened in New York and he had records and he was on video being in DC that weekend.
So which one?
So
Which
when
one
somebody
can you tell
makes
me?
when somebody makes an accusation with no evidence, you can knock that shit out in like
I put it
fucking
this
minutes.
way.
But here's
Evidence.
the thing, Carlos. You guys don't want to see or you don't seek the evidence to prove the bullshit you're saying is wrong.
If
That's
the evidence is
plain and
there, why
simple.
hasn't it been
somebody? Hold on, ready? Somebody told me this morning they're fucking censoring all the Republicans. They've thrown all the conservatives off of Twitter. I said, really? I just watched a video on Sean Hannity's page. He got booted. I go, no, he didn't. I screenshotted him, Ben Shapiro. I mean, they're all still fucking there. They're going to tell you shit and you're going to fucking believe it. But if you go to Twitter, you'll see it's bullshit that they're all still on the platform. Mm-hmm. You guys don't fact check. You don't bother fact checking. You hear something, it gets repeated. Again, you're going to fact check the Daily Caller with the Daily Wire. Of course they're going to corroborate it. And then go to Breitbart just to make sure. Is it on any fucking legitimate news site? Carlos, I've been in media for 23 years. Mm-hmm. I know the difference between bullshit and not bullshit. It's why I stopped watching Fox. It's why I left the Republican Party.
So where are the charges then if there's all this evidence?
They're coming. Wait till this fucker's out of office on January 20th. If Donald Trump's not in jail by March, I'll be fucking shocked.
Okay.
All right. Well, getting off of that.
And that's not even including the shit he might face for insurrection at the state capitol. This is just tax shit. This is just don't forget, there was a lawsuit. Michael Cohen, his personal attorney, went to jail for it. And guess who unindicted co-conspirator number one is? The president of the United States, who at the time, because he was the sitting president, couldn't be charged. On January 21st, don't be surprised when those fuckers come knocking. And unfortunately, some people on your side, not you, Carlos, and I do appreciate that, are going to lose their fucking shit and they're going to want to fucking go take care of business. And I have a real problem with that.
You see that?
They're already openly planning an attack on the 20th of January.
Yeah,
we
I
just
heard about that.
Do on the 6th. How do you feel about that? You want to come out?
I don't approve of that at all.
I hope you will.
I don't approve of that at all. I don't approve of it. Look, as I said at the beginning, I have no problem with him fighting tooth and nail for accuracy in the election. If it didn't happen, like we just said, the courts bear it out, and that's that. I'm still not what's the word? I'm still not confident in the process, so I don't think it's wrong for me to say I still doubt it. But there's nothing I can do. I'm not going to sit here and start, starting up my own militias and all that. It is what it is. I've lived through presidents I didn't like. I've lived through presidents I liked. That's being an American. All good. Good.
So what do you say to those of your same beliefs that
it's like an interview for me, isn't it? I feel like I'm a guest here.
Oh yeah. I'll put it this way.
Carlos, real quick.
Set you up because
Rob, I hate to cut you off. I don't want Carlos to hate me because we just
met
the other day.
I don't hate you at all.
This is my fiery on-air personality. The guy that you talked to on Sunday is just reasonable Joe who hangs out on the weekends.
That's okay.
All right, good. As long as you know.
No, see, and this is what Frank. I don't know if Frank told you this before I even came on. I mean, I don't care how much we disagree. When this is over, y'all are straight with me. I don't care. I'm reasonable. I can see halfway if I see there's middle ground, and if I don't, you know what? Hey, we don't agree. Let's have a beer. I don't care. I don't care. But the conversation though should always happen because again, somewhere between your kaleidoscope and mine, there's gold there, and we'll figure that out. But this is an art amongst the four of us that has been completely lost by everybody. People don't know how to do what we're doing here.
They don't even want to do it. They don't even want to enter. No, let me tell you something, Carlos. We have desperately tried in the last year to get on more conservatives on our network. Mm-hmm. And I've either found that they're absolutely like unfucking reasonable to the point where I can't have a that's with them.
But are you expecting to convert? Is that your goal?
No. I don't want to hear. No. God, no. Listen.
Can
I tell you ultimately what I do want to see? I want the Republican Party to get back. I mean, for people to defend it is just making it worse to me. Okay. I used to hold on, Carlos. I used to donate money. Donate money to the party. Okay. My daughter's name is Reagan.
Right.
Just give you some idea what I'm all about. Okay. When the party stopped giving a shit about the American people, I voted for Mitt Romney, even though I must admit the racism was getting a little strong. The dog whistles were getting louder. This didn't start under Trump. Make no mistake about it. This did not start under Trump. This started under Mitt Romney. In 2012, again, I'm a contributing member of the party at this point. They had a plan, Carlos, to expand it to Hispanic and Black communities to really outreach the Republican Party to make it a more diverse party. They tried it for a year. They changed leadership, and they were like, fuck it. The white supremacists are on our side. Let's fucking ride this shit out. And they've been, again, the Proud Boys. I mean, this goes way before Trump.
The Proud Boys.
Dude, these guys, this was all happening way before Donald Trump. This started with the birtherism bullshit that Trump helped inspire when he was just a civilian on Twitter, pushing that bullshit, which we now know wasn't true. I mean, Donald Trump was literally the last person who was still pushing the idea that Obama was born in Kenya. I didn't vote for Obama either time. Don't really care much for the guy. I appreciate his charisma. Got a nice smile. It's about it. Weak foreign policy. Weak ass foreign policy. One of the weakest since Jimmy Carter. Okay? But fact of the matter is, the Republican Party is the party of big business and the wealthy. And whatever scraps they're throwing your way, you shouldn't be satisfied with. You shouldn't be. Because ExxonMobil, which makes $90 billion a month in profit, gets government subsidies. Whenever they spill a little oil in the Caribbean, Carlos, you and me and Frank and Rob give that fucking company $90 billion. And as I said to you, hold on, as I said to you on Sunday, I would rather pay for your kids to go to college than give ExxonMobil a fucking dollar.
I agree.
That's how I feel.
Right. I'm not down with the whole give money to corporation thing, but I'm also not down with government taking my money and deciding what should be done with it. I'm not down with that either.
I agree. You don't get a choice. You don't get a choice. You're on different sides of the aisle. I am too. You don't get a choice. They're going to spend it on what they're going to spend it on. And my thought is, if they're going to take it, instead of giving tax cuts to the fucking rich, instead of paying ExxonMobil subsidies, make fucking community college free. Make healthcare free. Fucking do it. I mean, we live in the greatest country in the world. Countries like 2 through 25 have free fucking healthcare. Why don't we?
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
Right. I mean, you and I talked about it, and look,
that's pretty easy.
We'll debate healthcare another day, Carlos. Yeah. But my point is, the Republican policies do not favor the middle class in any way, shape, or form. So until they get back on track and focus on people like us, I'm out.
That's fine. I don't think that. See, the funny thing I think is the sins you're describing are not exclusive to the Republican Party. I mean, wasn't GE getting the same kind of benefits under Obama? They were getting all sorts of billions. They were because they are a company that worked with his agenda. This is what I started the show with.
Wait, what's his agenda? His agenda was creating jobs that didn't pay shit, but and if you did that, you could get tax cuts. He was
He was also heavily invested in the energy corp. Remember what was that company?
Enron.
Solyndra.
Oh, the
500 million or something like that. Poof.
Yeah.
Okay. See, this problem you're describing is not a Republican problem. They all do it. And the only difference is, on top of doing what you just described that you hate, they also want to take more of my money to start feeding it into healthcare and schools and all this and that. Leave that to the people.
So why not make these big businesses pay for it? I don't care how much money you bring into the country. Like, why aren't these guys getting taxed? I promise you, if you go ahead and tax.
Also, by the way,
Amazon
you do hold on. You do understand Solandra, the old white CEO who caused all the problems on Wall Street, completely lied about what finances he had available to him, and that's actually the reason the company went bankrupt. It was just another old, greedy, rich white guy that wanted to fuck the government and everybody he could out of money.
And we
Same
gave
problem
him
every time.
obscene amounts of money. Like,
So
I
where's
sure
the
as hell didn't want him to
accountability?
get any of that money. What the hell? So, Joe, we agree that our money is not being spent properly.
Yes.
The question is afterwards, how should we spend it? You feel
not on Solandra.
All right, but I don't think I want.
I certainly don't agree with that.
I don't think I want government being in charge of schooling and healthcare.
Who should be in charge of it?
So we talked about this. I still believe in private company competition. The key, though, and I believe this is where I think Rob touched on earlier when he asked me about what government's role should be. The key is to create a system of fairness and competition, not pocket padding based on special interest. But again, you need completely benevolent bureaucrats, and they don't exist. They don't exist. You will never find people who will go to Washington to sit there and literally just say, this is what we're going to do to make business fair, make sure that people get that. You know, they don't do that. And that goes back to that whole term limits thing. We can go round and round, but the cancer's right in there. It's in that part of the conversation that we were having. And you know,
and a lot of that makes sense, but then I feel like a lot of that gets lost when you start getting into social equality, because that's still a whole nother factor, which I feel like the whole right side forgets about, that there's still, you have cultures that are still deprived. I don't care what they want to say, and all things are still equal. You know, this is the best time for blacks and people of color, and they're like, no, it's definitely not. There's still a lot of hindrances in this country that I think that a lot of people on the right forget that still need to be aided. So there's a lot of aid. Hell, you look at welfare, white people are the majority of recipients of welfare, right?
I did a little math on that, and I think it's funny. I'm not trying to contradict. Yes, by total they are, but by ratio they're not. And so the point is though, we should be worried about making policies that get everybody off of it, and that's not what happens. And
the policies, there's policies made to get us off, but there's also policies to keep people hindered and stay on.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think in my view, when you deal with politicians, particularly Democrats, in my opinion, who believe in an increasing size in government, that also lends itself to, some financial support, things of that nature, where people tend to stay on it. That's just how I've always seen it. I mean, people can educate me, but that seems to come from the left. And so back to what I was saying about being fiscally conservative, the less of that there is, the better society is. And then I think society can function as a whole. That's why I put fiscal priorities over societal first. That's just me.
So what's your gain? Okay, so Bet, you say fiscal. When I hear fiscal, I hear monetary, right? So they're, in a sense, right? So there's a monetary gain versus a social gain.
Joe, you all right?
So, but like,
yeah, you know what it is, honestly. Just so everybody's clear, these things really bang me up pretty hard.
It's not a Twisted Tea, man.
It's not twisted.
Not only am I dealing with Joe, I'm dealing with enhanced Joe.
I am a little enhanced. These things hit me. I didn't eat dinner because it's so much going on. A couple shows in a row.
And he's on an empty stomach.
I'm pounding on. Yeah, I'm literally sweating.
Sweating
at this
You're
point.
blushed. You're blushed. You're blushed.
I am.
I
gotta tell you real quick. I really like Carlos, and I appreciate you coming on here, because I'll tell you what.
Oh, I knew it was a firing range.
I'm sure you've seen
range. They said you up. I told you, hold on to your pants.
Yeah, they hate you in the comments, Carlos. And I say kudos to you for sticking it out. And I got to tell you, I've screamed at this guy literally for an hour, and he has not so much as stopped smiling once.
No, this is fun.
and I'll say that Frank and them set you up because not only did like you're getting into podcasting, but you came on the most controversial show on the TMG network. If not, like,
do not say that Frank set him up. It was Antoine's idea to have us on here.
Frank, we've been friends since we were 11. You set me up, dude.
I was about to say, because I tell you right now, like, and then when they came on, because I was just expecting just to go in, go on my regular spiel, right? And they're like, hey, we're gonna have a super conservative on. So when I hear super conservative, there's and in my mindset, just so you understand where I'm coming from, Carlos, there's Republicans and then there's conservatives, and then there's like super conservatives, right? And like conservatives, super conservatives, they deal with that. They kind of deal in that same ballpark. So when they said super conservative, I'm like, oh, bet we got action. Like I'm ready to. And when I say conservative, like those are the people that are just too ignorant and too dumb to realize what they're fucking saying. So they're just blabbing a bunch of stuff that they haven't done any research on. They haven't done any kind of knowledge, any kind of base set, any kind of foundation, right? They're just blabbing off at the mouth, and you can just feel the bigotry and the ignorance just coming out. And those are the people that Joe said previously that we try and have. Well, we don't try and have on here, but I do, because I love killing that. So when I heard super conservative, I was like, let's go mode. So even when you came on, I'm like, cool. I told Frank, don't tell me nothing about this dude. I don't care. You said super conservative. I want him to hang himself in a sense, right? Like give him all the rope so that way I can just go. But I'm glad to see that you're not necessarily super conservative where you can't like. Well, I'm not even gonna say you're super conservative. You know what I mean? You're Republican. I get more of the just Republican mindset. And then I see that and then when they said, "Oh, you're of Cuban descent," I said, "Okay, that makes a lot more sense." Because that's
actually Rob's words where I'm gonna roast this motherfucker.
What happened? No, not after you said Cuban.
See, and you knew it, so I was a setup.
It was a setup. And that's what I said. They brought you here because they knew that like I'm on go. I'm on go. I'm with all the smoke. You know what I'm saying?
I saw your moniker when I got on. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be fun.
but like I said earlier, as long as as long as somebody respects me and isn't coming off in a bigotry, racist way, like we can have a conversation, we can converse, and we can get into the shits with any kind of conversation. But I'm glad, even though I'm kind of sad that you weren't one of these bozos, as I like to call them.
Sorry. There is some
I'm glad.
Here,
I'm glad that we're actually able to have a genuine conversation, where opposing views. And I don't consider myself liberal. I don't consider myself conservative either. You know what I mean? I'm in the middle. I'm a black man in America that I know. Pretty much for me in my mind, I'm for me and myself and my family only. I don't trust the government. I don't trust anybody that I don't know, period, right? I'm not of the, yes, I don't want to say I'm super pro-black because, yes, I'm of the belief that just because you're my color doesn't mean you're my fucking brother, right?
That makes perfect sense. Trust me. Between Latinos, it's the same thing. I mean, we might be Hispanic or Latino, but trust me, there's plenty of friction here too.
Real quick, and I want to give a shout out to all the listeners. I think I think a better phrase would be reallocation of resources from the police, as in put that money into institutions such as public education. That is correct, buddy.
I listen, Rob. I as long as we've been talking and as long as you and I have been friends, I've said to you, the Democrats do like the worst fucking job of communicating. I mean, to call it defunding the police,
that's ridiculous.
I don't think you could have come up with worse fucking terminology. I mean, Carlos, literally nobody in the Democratic Party, sans say 4 or 5 lunatics, truly want to defund the police. Literally, don't have police. None of us think that's a good idea. That is the worst idea in the world. And to even float that, to say that, to use those words, I mean, it was like the Democrats were begging to lose this election with that bullshit.
They were looking for something that was going to be catchy and something that can make a powerful impact.
Like I said before the show, or before the other show, Rob, Black Lives Matter is a beautiful thing. It's a shitty message.
Exactly.
It just easily got spun to, and what about white lives? And it's like, well, no.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter, in addition to Black lives have never felt like they've mattered. But again, Black Lives Matter. It seemed a little people didn't like it. People got a little averse to it. And so again, if the Democrats could say shit that made sense a little better, if Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were like, we're not the kind of communists like fucking Fidel Castro. There's not going to be toilet paper lines. We're not talking about any of that shit. The government's not taking over industry. They're not going to regulate your wages. This isn't Moscow. Again, Carlos, you could shake your head. Look at the countries of Norway and Sweden.
Joe, could you imagine?
Look at
Can you imagine if I sold you a car? You come to my car dealership. You come to my car dealership, and I show you a car, and I'm like, look, by the way, head gasket's about to blow, tires are rotten, brake pads are probably going to crack on you, and you might careen off a bridge at about 60. You're never going to get that kind of honesty from a politician. So when I hear you say they're not saying that, of course not. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but you know what?
Don't get me wrong. Hold on.
That would never happen here, though, Carlos.
You know how many countries have said that shit, Frank?
Yeah,
how many?
Yeah,
how many socialist countries
all of them
exist?
I'm sure all of them have said it.
You can't say how many and then say
whole
how
point,
many
though. The whole point, though.
countries are there in the fucking world?
So, Joe,
what
the whole point is,
good name are you talking about
the
right
whole
now?
point is, if there's potential, why play with it?
Carlos, we've been over this. There's 150
and we're going to keep being over it.
hardcore Tea Party conservative who absolutely have held our government hostage for the last 10 years, who won't bend and yield on anything, who literally, in spite of the word democracy, continue to get elected and continue to serve and continue to make sure that jack shit never gets done.
And there
That's
it is.
a hijacking of our government by a fucking lunatic fringe group that, again, doesn't represent the Republican Party at all. They got their whole Jesus Christ fucking Looney Toony bullshit, and I'm not interested in it. It doesn't get to dictate my life. I don't believe in that shit. We have a really clear constitution that says keep that horse shit at your fucking house. It doesn't legislate us, and it never will. Okay, the idea that we're gonna go from this horse shit to the extreme left, Carlos. I mean, honestly, dude, zero chance.
Again,
also,
though, I think in your mind,
like a little bit like a Hispanic Billy Joel. Did anybody ever tell you that?
In your mind, though, it sounds when I hear you, it sounds like you think the process. And again, this is just by me hearing you. You think the process is instant, and it's not. It's very gradual. It's like a slow drip from IV. So I don't blame you for sitting there and saying it'll never happen. And I'm telling you, you just won't notice it's happening. Now, I'm not saying
Carlos, when it happened in Cuba, you realize there was revolution after revolution that led.
Listen,
a lot that led up to it. And it was all super violent.
My aunt's godfather was the president prior to Fidel arriving. That's her guy. I still freak out when I hear that. I'm like, that dude was your godfather. And they told me the story. He was elected. Elected.
He was elected.
And then when his term was done, he said, "Yeah, I'm not leaving. You can kiss my ass." And so that's when
sounds just like fucking Donald Trump.
Holy shit!
Just like Trump, and you're like, but Biden.
He's leaving.
Donald Trump's got you fucking good.
He's leaving. I'm not sitting here scared. I'm not sitting here scared thinking he's going to stay. I'm not.
I was though. I
I have not been. Nobody wants to, dude. At the end of the day, hold on.
This is not Venezuela. Okay.
Hold on.
We have shit in order for this not to happen.
Facts.
Okay. There's no way, that it's gonna happen. We have a president, we have a vice president, and we have everybody else in the middle that they won't let it happen. Especially when we have two parties.
Did it happen with Obama? That's what I wanted, because I remember the same rhetoric was happening when Obama came in.
It's not gonna happen.
Again, you guys are making it sound like it's a process that just like get in the car, turn the keys, and boom.
The thing is that we as fucking
Joe, put that comment up.
as kids of Cubans, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my words right. I couldn't get it out. But all right, hey, Nilsa, you're right. Okay, but we are taught that these Democrats, okay, are communists because of their views. Do they have some of the same views as the communism? Yeah, there's some views. Okay, but does it mean that what's happened in Cuba and Venezuela is going to happen here? There's no way.
No,
no way
not like that at all.
So why? So what are you afraid of then?
But no. See, still, all right. Apparently, because of historical, past grievances, whatever.
I can tell you. I'm sorry.
It seems like there's this appearance of how communism is going to look. Like, oh, dude shows up with a beard and a cigar, and he's telling everybody I'm in charge. It doesn't fucking work like that. Look, at least not here. Still, though,
I mean, look, Nilsa Bravo's comment, what it was, is you would think my people will see a dictator a mile away. I'm going to tell you something about her because I know her personally.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad, if I remember correctly, did get arrested in Cuba, okay, for going against the government.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he saw all the changes over. So, again, her comment right on point. Are we going to see that? Yes, we will see that. Why? Because of what we've learned from our own parents. My dad served in an army, so to say.
Yeah, I remember the story.
Okay. So to go up against Castro's regime, never really happened.
Yeah, but Frank, you can't dismiss the concerns. So I've got my aunt, my mom, family members who they smell this. They've smelled this before, and so they're concerned, not because they're crazy. It's because they've kind of seen these things before. So there's nothing wrong with being cautious. And to take it for granted and just say it'll never happen. I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
Carlos, we're now well aware, and we will keep our eye hot on it. Okay. And if this shit starts to go fucking crazy left, I'll take you to the Capitol myself, and we'll burn that shit to the ground. Okay? It's not happening. And here's the other reason it's not happening. Yeah. Where have we seen communism and that horseshit socialism work? Where has it worked? Nowhere.
So my question
now, again, the democratic socialism that AOC and Bernie are talking about, we've seen it be very successful in Norway and Sweden and Finland and all the Scandinavian countries where the people are wealthier, they're healthier, they make more money.
Tell you they're not socialists, though.
they are socialists.
No, they've said it. Was it the president from Denmark? He's like, don't call us socialists. We're not a socialist country.
Correct. It's a democratic. Mostly it's you guys that use the word socialists. On this side, people say democratic socialists, which is exactly what it is that they're doing. And we can argue about the terminology, but the fact of the matter is those are Carlos. If you look
it up,
it's
not a donut; it's a glazed donut.
on the index, those countries lead the world in nearly every single category of success and happiness. Those people get a living stipend of $2,000 a month. Imagine not having to worry about paying for where you're going to live because it's just something you get from the government.
It's a necessity.
Here's money to live. The money you make at work, do whatever the fuck you want with it. Hookers, you want to invest it?
Do whatever.
It's whatever you want to do. Free healthcare, free education. You know what? The people are smarter. They're healthier. They're more educated. They do better on STEM tests than we do. Because they're pooling their money together and they're making their country fucking great again.
Right. And
it's what we could be doing.
An issue that we have.
Instead, we're still pushing our money and giving it to the wealthy, and then it's fucking peanuts for the rest of us.
Well, I just love how everybody. Here's the funny thing, though. Here's the funny thing. We all like to sit here and yap about the success of Scandinavian countries, but why don't we have to be real. The only reason they have that kind of opportunity is because they have very few other financial responsibilities. So now we bring up the topic of defense spending. See, we all agree, I'm pretty sure, that if we spent less on the military, a lot of that money that you're talking about can go to programs like that. But once you do that, those other countries that depend on what we provide are going to have to start shifting and pooling their money to other things because we're not there to back them up. And then things wouldn't look so rosy. So there has to come a point where you realize that all this money you're talking about for hookers in school, it's all limited.
It's not limited. Bro, the government literally prints the fucking money. And there can be as much
that's something the kids will pay for later. You know that
they want.
You know that's
bro, there's nothing in this life is free. Nothing in this life is free. I think we all get it. But the idea that you wouldn't want to educate and keep your society healthy, I mean, why fucking live in a country then? Why don't we just all go out to the fucking woods and live separately?
No.
Do you understand the only way insurance works is if everybody's doing it? That's how you really get the cost of health insurance down. It's why they put a mandate into Obamacare. If everybody's paying into the system, the prices go down.
But then you had to do, like, I didn't want insurance during that time. I didn't. I was perfectly fine. And yet I got nailed.
Yeah, but Carlos, but you know what happens if you do need to go to the hospital? If you get rushed to the hospital, you know who pays for it? I do. So fuck that. No, you have to have insurance. You have to have insurance to have a fucking car. You can't drive around your car with no insurance on it. You know why? Because maybe you don't want to have insurance because you're a really good fucking driver, but that one time you fuck up and you hit me, now we got a problem, don't we?
Right,
that's
so
why everyone's mandated to register and have insurance on their vehicle. Right. Why wouldn't you have health insurance? Again, you're a burden on the system if you're sick or you get taken to the hospital and you don't have health insurance. It fucks everybody else.
So does having them call the shots on what's good and what's not good.
You haven't proven that because it's never happened. So you're talking about a hypothetical. I'm talking about real shit that's already happened.
Wasn't there a story from England or UK?
I don't give a shit about England or the UK.
No, well, they have the same system. They have the same system. You had a child over there. That had a condition.
If you're gonna give me one anecdotal story about one person one time in fucking England, fuck it, bro. They had a medical doctor who was literally testifying before Congress. Okay, and who's the small dick from Ohio? The wrestler, Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan. Yeah.
Jim Jordan was like, well, why do so many people come to America to get surgeries? And she was like, what the fuck are you talking about? If you look at the numbers, do you know where people go for surgery? Canada.
I was going to say Canada.
Nobody fucking comes here. That's another bullshit myth that's pushed by the right. And if you look it up, it's just not true.
But Joe, at the end of the day, the flexibility on where my money goes should be mine. I just see it that way. It should be mine. And if I don't want to, well, why not strive for it then?
Who's gonna introduce that idea?
There we
Democrats or the Republicans?
Neither.
So hold on, Carlos. Here's the difference between what we're talking about. You're looking to make up hypotheticals that will never happen. You sound like you're the Bernie Sanders of this conversation right now. You're talking about hypotheticals and you're talking about failed things that haven't even fucking happened yet. I'm telling you about things that we've seen fail over and over again, and you're like, yeah, well, what are we gonna do? I disagree with that. We have to deal with the system we have. They're gonna take 25% of your paycheck, whether you fucking like it or not. You don't have any choice in the matter, and they're never gonna change that. Never going to change that.
So you're okay. Well, if we're going to take 25%, why not vote for people that'll take 50 then?
I'm not going to do that.
That's what it sounds like you're advocating. If we're going to start covering for education and we're going to start covering for healthcare,
that's what you took out of what I said. That you're not listening.
Here's what I'm just math. I don't have to
I'm telling you, Carlos. No matter what you say or do, they're taking taxes out of your paycheck.
Yes.
They're not going to ask you where you want it allocated. Rob loves that idea. I like that idea. I think Frank even likes it. They're never going to let it happen.
Well,
hold on. Let's deal with the reality of what happens right now.
Mhm.
You can elect Democrats, and they'll give that money to the middle class and the poor, or you can vote for Republicans, and they'll continue to cut the rich's taxes, and you'll get whatever peanuts trickle down. That's how it works. It's how it's worked since Ronald Reagan. I'm a huge Ronald Reagan fan. Trickle-down economics, Carlos, was a massive fucking failure, and it's only a failure because greedy rich people don't want to pay their fair share. How much money is stocked in the fucking Cayman Islands and in Panama?
But I think you're delusional when you think that the Democrat Party is not going to be feeding the pockets of the rich. That's crazy.
Sure they are, but their
That's crazy.
policies favor the middle class. Both of these, both parties are beholden to the same corporate entities. Both of them. I'm under no delusions, my friend. Zero. Okay?
They're all friends.
I don't think I could be any clearer when I say I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a liberal. But plain and simple, Carlos, the policies of the Democratic Party favor the middle class and the poor. And the Republicans favor the rich and corporations. I'm not a corporation and I'm not rich, so fuck them.
The way I see it, though, and Rob brought this up earlier, is that those very policies that you claim benefit the middle and lower class do so at the expense of, and I'm not saying always, but it's happened and it's probably going to continue to happen. They benefit people to the point where they just have no desire to produce or work. Rob, you mentioned that earlier.
Very true. Very true.
Rob says that all the time. Rob says that all the time. There is no statistical evidence to back up that in any way, shape, or form. It's something I've researched a lot. It seems like a really good idea.
That's a load of garbage.
It's not. Hold on.
People staying on the unemployment check.
I can send you a study right now. There has been a major fear with everybody shifting operations to people working from home that production would be down. And you know what's happened? The exact fucking opposite, Carlos, in study after study. Again, you can tell me that you don't believe shit, and that's fine. This is typical Republican post-truth. Well, just because you say it, I feel like it's different. I don't give a shit. They've done studies. There is. Let me tell you something. The idea that you would suggest that there's Americans out there that don't have incentive to work is horseshit. You want to talk about the project blanket statement on people? That's a fucking horrible thing to say.
No, but you don't think they have
incentive to
you don't
work.
think there's government programs that do cause that kind of incentive?
Work.
Come on.
Now, I will say that there is, I'm not going to say a plethora of people, but yes, there is a known kind of like thing of, why pay for more housing, especially when housing is crazy, when I have this kind of housing here and I can set myself up situated and get, HUD assistant and everything else like that. Like there is a mentality of, I'm paying $200 a month. Why am I going to continue to go out that way? I will say as far as jobs, I don't think people are just like, oh no, I'm not going to work, because hell, I was on unemployment for whatever. I will say even at the beginning of this, I was like, no, I'm not going to work. If there's a pandemic going around, you're not going to force me to go to work. But then even after a while, I was like, no, I need to get to work. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think there's people that are just, I shouldn't say I don't think there's people, because there are people that are like, fuck it, I'm just going to milk the system. But I don't think that it's as heavy as Republicans lead to be. Now, I will say that there are people milking the benefits of the system. Now, I will say that I'm not going to deny that, because I've seen it. I know it personally, and yes, anyways, go ahead, Frank.
Look, and I'm going to touch with this pandemic shit. All right. When this whole first pandemic stuff came off, I got laid off. Okay. I spent 5 months without work. Now, I was making a decent amount of money per week. Kind of weird. All right. But I took advantage of unemployment, took advantage of those extra $600. Okay. What, was I actively looking? Yeah, I was. But a lot of these companies out there also knew that, hey, this guy's on unemployment. This guy's making so much money. All right. Because you could see that. All right. Did I refuse a job or two? I refused 4 jobs before I took the job I had. Why? Because majority of these companies wanted to pay shit money. All right. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to go ahead and bust my ass for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and come up with less money than what I have right now living off the government. Fuck that. I'll live
And
off
not living off the government. That's your money.
Well, fine. Well, yeah, you're right. It's my money. But at the end of the day, I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to take this. I'm going to take the $600, that I'm also getting. And you know what? It took a while until I found a job. I wasn't happy with the job that I took. I mean, I'm still there now, but I took a job because I had to take a job because of my situation, here at home. So at the end of the day, we're going to, did I refuse work? Yes. Why? Because companies didn't want to pay.
That's not your worth. You weren't getting paid your worth.
But exactly.
Hey,
so go.
Oh no, I was just gonna pretty much just piggyback off of that, because I was in the same boat, but at the same time, like that's the money that they were giving us, the unemployed for that, and then just being like, oh, you got to go back to work. These companies were taking these major corporations were taking out small business loans. And I understand that, it was loopholes and they have small businesses under corporations and all this other shit. But let's use, for instance, I won't use their name, but my previous employee, they took out a small business loan, right? And their reasoning for taking out the small business loan was way beyond what that small business loan was supposed to be about, right? And everybody's talking about the fraud that unemployed people were pulling because they didn't want to go back to work just for pennies on the dollar. What about these big corporations that got bailed out with small business loans that didn't need to take it? Hell, we just reported a couple weeks ago, Tom Brady took out a small business loan for his company, and he only has like 15 to 20 employees, millions of dollars, but was able to buy a boat. A big ass fucking multi-million-dollar boat. You know what I'm saying? Like these are the things that it's just like, really. But Amazon and once again, all these big companies are getting fucking tax write-offs, but they're still able to get these fucking SBAs. You know what I'm saying? And then again, here we go, another set of round of SBAs that are supposed to be coming, and all these corporations are still in the running. They're still going to be able to apply. So it's just like I don't want to hear all that, milking the system and all of that and unemployment shit. Like, you did what you had to do. You know what I mean? Just like what a bunch of other people. I know I wasn't definitely going. Hell, I couldn't get a job. We talked about this for months on end, right, Joe? I would go to Stop and Shop. I would go to any kind of job I could find. You're overqualified. No, we're not hiring because we can't, you know what I mean? We can't justify paying you this when we can only pay you this when you're qualified for this. So it's crazy out there that we were stuck out here struggling. But the major corporations, these big businesses, conservatives and all that were on the line of, just tighten up your bootstraps. When guess what? A lot of those from the base of the videos and everybody that stormed the damn fucking building, it seemed like they were on that fucking assistance too. Let's see here. Mike goes, how do you guys feel about the universal basic income?
It's communism. I'm kidding.
Well, and to be honest,
I'm kidding.
I'll say, Carlos, it is a little bit. And so I guess what I would say to universal basic income is if you were to basically give every adult in America $2,000, then you have to to pay for this. You would completely eliminate welfare and any other social services. You could get rid of HUD again. Everybody would have money for housing. You'd have to make cuts in a lot of other areas. I don't like this. And Carlos, all kidding aside, to me, that's one of those liberal ideas that it gets. I don't want the government deciding how much money people are making as their salary. That doesn't work.
And to add to that, I think, let's be honest, psychologically, if you're paying everybody, like you said, $2,000, what incentive is there to do anything? Like,
well, you still need to pay for other shit. You still,
but you're getting the money. So, like, what I mean by that is, and here's the way I see it. Part of why I don't like government getting involved in the business is because I feel competition breeds constant improvement. I mean, that's a large part of how America became America. Yeah, there's other things. Don't get me wrong. Let's not even go there. But through competition, me wanting to outdo you. Like, for example, Rob, this is your cast. Well, you know what? I want to have a better cast than Rob, so I'm going to do something too. And then Joe, you come in and you want a better cast. all of us attacking each other for a better show makes better shows. That principle applies to businesses, the workforce. But if we're all getting a set check, now you know what? As much as I want to take down Rob, I'm cool. I'm getting paid.
Let me ask you a legit question. Would you really feel that way? Would you really lose all your inspiration?
I personally at this age, no, but if someone's growing up in that kind of system, they probably never develop that kind of edgy mentality to begin with. We can try, but let's face it. What's our number one priority as human beings? Survival. And if we're given the means of surviving, what more do we need to do?
Bro, I don't know if you're aware of this. Homo sapiens are 1.3 million years old. 1.3 million. We started farming 11,000 years ago. Okay? We're not like the fucking smartest tool in the shed. We're slow fucking moving people to development. It took us about 5,000 more years to learn how to write, but it had only taken us 2,000 years for an entire war to break out across the known world. Okay? That's the kind of people we are. In 11,000 years from the time we became farmers to now, I mean, the tribalism is still there. It's never going to go away.
Yeah.
There's no, listen, Carlos, there's no such thing as a utopia.
No.
And we have to learn, again, I think if this election taught us anything, at 81 million to 74 million, pretty much split down the fucking middle.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn how to talk to each other. We have to learn how to agree. We have to learn how to compromise. But my problem right now, Carlos, is I don't feel like most Republicans, and this is where I struggle. Again, I liked being one. I did a lot. I really did. My identity was really built in my politics. I don't like where it's going, and I just want to see it get better. This is not me endorsing the Democratic Party when I say this. I would like the Republican Party to focus on the middle class. Stop jocking the fucking corporations. Ronald Reagan, the patron saint of the party, could not have been any clearer. He called for a 35% corporate tax rate. And you know what he said? Same shit Bernie said. Corporations aren't people. Ronald Reagan was right then. Bernie Sanders is right now. When I hear a message that I've always agreed with, I don't give a shit who utters it. I don't care if it's crazy fucking communist socialist Bernie. I liked when Ronald Reagan said it. I agreed then, and I agree with that now. Corporations make a fucking ton of money. Amazon, made how many billions last year? No taxes at all. There is something, and what do they pay the guys in the warehouse, Rob? Jack shit.
15, 25.
Yeah, and they give them fucking COVID.
No,
Thanks
you're right.
a lot, Jeff Bezos, you prick.
And that's why that's a two-party problem, because since the creation of Amazon and its strive to massive financial success, both parties have had charge of houses, all three houses, call it what you want. But the rules on the tax loopholes never changed. So that's why I have an issue with people saying, "Oh, it's this party more than." Nah, the garbage is there on all sides.
The Republicans completely reformed the tax cuts last year, and it severely fucked me. They capped what you can claim for deductions.
Yeah, I heard there were issues with people who itemized. Yeah, or something like that.
You know where he specifically made sure it fucked people was New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, a lot of that, if I'm not
mistaken, he's going to go to fucking jail. By the way, Nilsen said that this is the first time anybody agreed with anything you said. It happened like 3 minutes ago. I have no idea.
And this is the beauty of conversation right there.
I don't know what he said that you're agreeing with.
I'll just take it. I don't care.
Carlos, I didn't think it mattered. I just thought someone finally said something nice.
At this point, I'm going to just sign off. Look, somebody agreed. I'm out. Deuces.
No, that was for when Carlos was talking about
the high wave out. Smart man.
And how you wouldn't be able, how nobody would want to, how he believes nobody would want to do anything more motivating. That's what they're agreeing with. But
I think that's a mindset that again gets so that idea of like the ghetto fucking welfare queen again, here's another problem. Hold on, I have with what right wing conservative media is this idea that Mexicans are lazy welfare recipients, but also they steal all our jobs.
Which is
which the fuck one is it? Mexicans are lazy welfare recipients, or are they stealing all the jobs? Because it can't fucking well be both. I can give you 20 more examples, Carlos, of things that I hear where it's like, wait a minute. So Hillary Clinton's dying of syphilis, but she's also running a pedophile ring, an international criminal ring. I mean, which the fuck is it? She's either dying or she's a fucking gangster. She's not both.
She's been doing that for years.
It's constantly. This is again my problem, Carlos. I would love to be. I wish you and I could team up and be two Republicans to fuck everybody up. But they're off right now. I mean, you must know this.
I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that, and I'll tell you why. I wouldn't want that, and I'll tell you why. What you just described on a very small scale is what I call groupthink. I wouldn't want everyone to think like me, because I know for certain I don't have all the right ideas. What I don't appreciate is just people's stubbornness. And I'm stubborn. Don't get me wrong. Everybody who knows me right now is like, dude, you're talking about being stubborn? I am stubborn. But again, yeah, see? But I've always told people, hey, as stubborn as I am, I'll listen to you. And somewhere in your haystack and mind, I'm sure there's strings of gold that we can pull out. And so I'm not, and I'm not saying that's what you were describing, Joe. I just don't like groupthink. I think both sides are doing it now. And as you can see, it's not healthy in any way, shape, or form. And that's everybody. Yeah. That's everybody.
Sure. But again, groupthink or agreeing on common sense, basic facts. Because to suggest it's groupthink for everybody to observe and see the same shit with their eyes is not the same thing as everybody having the same ideology about shit.
The perception's reality. How do you control that?
You talk a lot about hypothetical situations, and you tend to cite very anecdotal evidence to support some of the outrageous things you're saying. Okay? I can't, and here's the thing, Carlos. I did that for years because I was a Republican and I had to. And for me, it got fucking tiring. I got tired of meeting black people and gay people, and when they found out I was a Republican, being like, oh no, I'm not the hateful kind. That's what it had become for me, literally from about 2012 to 2015. That was what my existence was as a Republican. I had to constantly apologize for it. And the more I apologized for it, the more I was like, why am I allowing this shit to happen? Why am I okay with Mitt Romney saying no one's going to question my birth certificate? Because I'm fucking Lily fucking White and I'm from Utah. I'm a real American. That's where that mindset started from. And I didn't like it. And then this prick showed up talking about Mexicans are rapists and murderers. Get the fuck out of here, motherfucker. No way. Dude, I knew the moment that fucker came off that escalator, we were in big fucking trouble. I started this not this one. I started my podcast, which led to the whole network and this one and your show. When that fucker came off that escalator, I knew we were in fucking trouble. And I originally started doing this to document what I was afraid was going to happen. And it all culminated last Wednesday at the Capitol. It's exactly what I fucking thought was going to happen. For every person that told us, oh, he's nothing like Hitler, he's not a wannabe dictator, he literally incited an insurrection on the U.S. Capitol. You could try to explain it away if you want. I know you won't, but that's what happened. This was exactly what we all thought it was going to be. This is the reason I literally cut from the Republican Party. I was like, this guy's bad fucking news. He's been bad news from day one. Okay? I mean, look at all this shit with COVID. I mean, this fucker, his whole plan, Frank, was let everybody get it. That was his plan. Are you fucking serious?
He threw him in his whole.
I mean, just based on that, I have zero respect for this person because all the smart people around him were like, no, bad fucking idea. And he was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm going to do it anyway. Here's my thing about Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's been wrong a fucking million times. He comes out and he says, hey, I was wrong. We have new data. Here's what we have to be doing now because it's fucking science. And science changes. And you make changes with science. And the difference between somebody with class who gives a fuck about people like Dr. Fauci as opposed to the president is he could say, hey, I was wrong. I was wrong. Sorry about that. Been looking it over. This is going to be what's best for us. Trump doesn't give a fuck. And I'm sorry, but he could sniff fucking hair all he wants. You could tell Joe Biden gives a shit about people. And there's a big, I'll grant you that one, Carlos, but there's a big difference in demeanor. There's a big difference in personality. There's a big difference in approach. It's going to make the country better, at least for the short term, until the socialism kicks in.
Call me a skeptic.
We need it. I understand that. I understand that.
And again, when you say those things,
go
ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
I want you to go.
When I hear those things,
I feel you, dude. I really do.
His demeanor, his approach. He's a fucking car salesman. That's why I don't buy into that shit. That's probably one of the reasons why I was so tolerant of Trump, because I'm just sick of the speeches. I'm sick of the placating, the placating and the nonsense. It's all fucking. It's a show, and I'm tired of it. We've all been lulled to sleep by beautiful words. You know how heartbroken I was? Mind you, I don't know how old you were when Reagan was in charge. I was in elementary school. So as much as I enjoyed him,
So was Joe.
So is Joe.
So was Joe.
But okay, so to the point, at least at that age, me personally, I didn't understand the concept of speechwriters. And so when I found out that, Reagan even had one, I was like, damn, I used to think that man spoke from the heart, even though he made it sound that way. Shit was written for him too. And you just get tired of that nonsense. Seriously, I almost prefer somebody direct. So we gave it, we gave the orange man a shot. He was direct and didn't work out, whatever the case may be. And I'm okay with that. But I do believe that a massive wrench needed to be thrown at Washington. And where we go from here, I don't know. But I was sick of the mango Mussolini. I was just sick of the constant same shit every 4-8 years.
I can listen, and I love Frank, and Frank and I have a lot of friends who voted for Trump in 2016. I have no problem with that, and I understand the stuff he was saying was appealing. The idea of an outsider is great. Who wouldn't want that? Drain the swamp. Fucking yeah. Didn't do any of it. Never was gonna. This guy learned from the Clintons that you just fucking talk out your ass and do whatever the fuck you want.
We should not be content with that.
No, we shouldn't, but you are. And this is my point. Because I wasn't cool when the Clintons did it. I wasn't cool when the Clintons did it. I didn't like some of the shit George Bush did. I didn't like a lot of shit Obama did. I hate everything this fucking dude's done. I'm very consistent on that. But I believe in my heart of hearts, Carlos, that this motherfucker believes that this is how it works. And that's how you're supposed to do it. He's wrong. And nobody around him had the balls to say, you can't do that. None of this is fucking right. All people kept doing is enabling it.
No, they did. He
continued to enable it because I'm sorry. If I was a Republican senator, fucking 9 o'clock this morning, we would have walked into the house and I'd be like, impeach that motherfucker. I'm the first fucking, that guy sent people here to kill us.
Facts. Yeah, like
we cannot be okay with that.
Not just Dems, Republicans too.
Now, my question to you is this, Carlos, and you see where I'm going to go with it is,
this could make or break our show, bro. Be careful.
Okay, we have a lot of these
canceled before it debuts.
There's all my Republican friends keep on telling me, Obama split the country. Okay,
I'm so sick of hearing that.
No, yeah. So am I. But now, and I'm going to tell you what I tell everybody. All right, I'm going to agree with you a minute. Obama split the country, right? What did Trump do to bring it together?
Oh no, nothing.
He did not.
He did
Thank you
nothing.
for that
But
beautifully honest answer.
But
Okay,
again,
here we
though, I
go.
will say this. No. See, again, and I said this before, so I'm being consistent.
Go ahead.
Nobody tried to make anything together. No one. And I know you're going to say, oh, but he's the president. I get it. There are still 535 other leaders in that building, and all of them were doing everything in their power to keep us angry. Let's take it a bit further.
Let me hold on a minute. Hold on.
But
Let me ask you this, Carlos.
Yeah.
You are an educator, correct? Correct. You're a teacher.
Say it again?
You're-
Sorry, I was distracted by the comment. Go ahead.
all right. You are an educator, correct?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. So you have to teach, the kids, or however exactly you're doing it nowadays.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So what is the kids are going to do? If you teach them right, they're going to go right. Correct? They'll do the
Right.
right thing. Right?
Mhm.
So pretty much you're leading by example, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So what the fuck do you think the president of this fucking United States needs to do? He's a top fucking guy. At the end of the day, he has to lead by example.
Okay.
And sometimes you gotta stick your tongue in your ass and shut the fuck up. And that's something that he did not know how to do.
No, he didn't. But again,
So
I'll
what
say,
happened?
yeah.
It brings us back to where we're at now. Where instead of being here, we're further apart. What
Yeah,
did he
but
do?
Again, I'm not going to put that on him solely, though. I mean, I've seen enough.
Okay, but he did nothing
I'm
to bring
not.
it together. But he did
No, I
nothing.
get it. I get it. I get that. But again, it wasn't just him. I think there's plenty of blame to go around. And I'm not. If you're going to sit here and have me sit down and say, yeah, Trump could have done a better job. Nobody wanted him to do a better job. It's been that way since before he was even elected. It's been just a bunch of negative noise from everybody everywhere. And that's all I've been hearing.
I disagree.
That's horseshit. Everybody
ain't.
was begging for this guy to do
to
a
do a
good
better
job.
job. We wanted him to do
Yeah.
it.
And he
We
fucking
saw the
doubled down.
everybody begged him.
Dude, I'll tell you right now, there are speeches where he mocks the fucking idea that he would ever grow into the job or be a mature fucking adult about it.
like
He mocked it in speeches constantly. There were constantly people around him that were like, we're gonna teach him the job. He had good people around him. He really did. He really tried. I mean, he had like 10 different fucking chiefs of staff. Nobody could get him to do the job the way it's supposed to be done, which is a fucking crying shame. And unfortunately, I think a stain on our history forever.
So I got to get going here soon. I was supposed to just come in and say hello. Lord knows I'm probably going to get an earful.
Hello.
But see, Joe, I have an issue with what you just said. What does it mean to do the job like you're supposed to? What is this supposed to?
With respect and dignity.
maturity.
Yeah,
All
but-
I was looking for.
No, see,
Those
what you
two things,
say,
respect and dignity, and he
Right.
failed on both.
when you say respect and dignity, what I hear is, or at least when I think of when I hear supposed to, is just read the script, and that shit needs to stop. I'm not down with that.
Respect and dignity by the most powerful man on the fucking planet. If you don't expect
No, don't get me
those two
wrong.
basic requirements, dude,
Yeah,
then fucking
Yeah, but
anybody, any
what's-
jerk off on the street can be the
what's-
president.
but yeah, what's respect? When you say respect and dignity, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from.
Class,
I don't, but by how?
Decorum.
morals.
decorum. I
You
mean,
see-
just basic fucking
Ethics.
humanity. I mean, you want more examples?
Yeah,
Talk to
my
people
point
like-
is, you're
Talk
still
to people
talking
with
about
respect
people.
like they're humans.
But you're
Somebody
talking
that doesn't
to-
make fun of a handicapped person.
Sure, baby.
That
Don't
would
Somebody
be
that
wrong.
doesn't
mock-
call a
don't mock
serviceman
the disabled.
cowards.
That would be a great start.
Somebody that doesn't call servicemen cowards, especially when you duck serve in the country. Somebody that doesn't, you know what I mean, that doesn't isn't in support of gerrymandering, somebody that isn't in support of racism, somebody that isn't in support of bigotry. So you know what I mean? The list can go on. The list can go on. Like it's there's so many other things that he can have been better at, and those are the things that we asked him for. Whatever 365 plus a leap year times 4, you like that's how long we've asked them, plus some. Even, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
so we voted in a guy who's got a history of
you
failing at
voted.
everything. No.
Yeah.
You guys just voted in somebody who has a terrible track record at all that bullshit.
Well, guess what?
The only reason you give him a
between him-
pass, the only reason you give him a pass is because he reads a paper better than
No,
Trump.
no, the only reason why I
That's
gave
all
him
it
a
is.
pass, the reason why
That's
I
all
voted
it
for
is.
him instead of voting for
Yeah.
Joe Jorgensen was the reason because he had some dignity and he said, you know what? I may have been wrong for the past 47 years, but guess what? I'm willing to change my mindset and listen to the people and give it a shot. Am I
And you-
wrong?
And you
Did he do
believe that. And you believe that.
Did he do
You
that?
believe bullshit for 4 years.
believe
How you
Trump.
believe
You
bullshit
believe
for
in
4
the
years?
man.
How you going to criticize him? Come
You
on.
voted again
But
for him.
no, see, that's
You've been
the
so
point.
consistent all night, right up to that point.
No, man. I mean,
You
don't get me.
voted
It's
for
like
him
you're
again.
saying.
You
Yeah,
voted
because
for
I
him
still
again.
I
So
still
you
think he's
believe
a
this
better.
bullshit for another 4 years.
To me, he's a better option than that mannequin cardboard. He's just he's just hi. I'm Joe Biden. The guy is the most racist,
Who,
bigoted.
Biden?
Yes, he's got
Okay.
a massive history of it.
He
Oh,
does.
He's got-
you know what? Here we go.
Again,
No,
a
no,
simple
no,
Google- a
no.
simple Google search will tell you the shit you're talking about is dead wrong.
Oh, Jesus.
Carlos, I've read it all. None of that shit is actually the words. It's all out of context. If you there's actually video of it where you can hear what he actually said. And he intended the opposite of what is portrayed in right-wing media. It's just like this Hunter Biden bullshit. You're welcome to believe it with no evidence. And then, I mean, go ahead. Knock yourself out.
No. Listen,
Go ahead.
it's 11. I was supposed
Trust
to.
me, this is I'll piss you off shortly. We go.
No, I know.
We go.
I told you this show
The
could go.
problem is I could go all night, and I'd be more than happy to come back and piss people off here again. That's what we
Oh,
do.
no,
I
no,
guess.
they catch you Friday nights. They'll definitely catch you Friday nights.
That's fine. That's fine. Frank and I'll piss each other off. We've been doing it for 30 plus years. So
Well, we're looking forward to the new show, guys. Thank you for giving us a sample. Carlos, thank you for coming on here. At least one person agreed with you one time. That was pretty awesome.
nah, you know
It's,
what, man?
It's progress.
It's crack. It's a crack. That's how it works. Just
Hey, we appreciate it, Carlos. We thank you for coming
I
through, man.
appreciate this. This was my first experience. This was a blast. I mean, I know I came completely unprepared, but it's all good. I mean, you let me talk. We screamed it out. It's all good. And I would look forward to another spot sometime. Frank, during the week, we'll sit down and pick a few things. It doesn't have to be specifically politics. You got playoffs going on, lots of stuff. So
Yeah, fucking Steelers are fucking trash. Honestly, there was supposed to be some other talk, but this conversation has gotten so great.
I showed up.
Yeah, like when things happen and conversations get so good, you just gotta let that shit flow. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I'm glad. I'd rather spend 2 hours having healthy, positive conversation than you know what I mean. So like this has been a plus any old days. I mean, if you definitely want to, we can get into a couple. Like we can close it. Well, not close it out because there's a couple things we want to get to. But before you leave, what do you think about the playoffs since they just happened? We'll end on a good note.
I'm a Saints fan, so I'm naturally worried now that the referees are going to do what they've been doing to us the last few years.
If you're going to believe in conspiracy theories, believe in that one because I'm with you. They always that one I'm with you on.
I'm not gonna completely dismiss Buffalo. I know everybody wants to jump on the Kansas City train because they're the champs. It's natural. But Buffalo's making all kinds of noise on the AFC side. As far as the NFC, every week everybody wants to say the Packers and Rodgers is overrated, but they kept winning. So you can't say that. But I can say that they are beatable. It's just a question of who's going to do it. Right now, the Saints, they have as good a shot as anybody, but they're facing a dilemma. It's not to say they can't beat Tampa Bay. They've done it twice. The problem is they've done it twice. 3 times is a monumental task. And so,
especially with Brady in the playoffs.
Yeah. So if they can manage to beat Tampa Bay and stay healthy, they have as good a shot as anybody at beating Green Bay. Now, I know that game would be in Lambeau, and we understand that dome teams outside. It's a little different, but we can run, so maybe not. I was surprised to see Seattle go down like that, but So goes the playoffs. That's why you play the game. I'm not going to make any predictions, but I do feel that the Bills, we can call them a dark horse, but not really. They're good. They're good, and I think they're going to give KC a run for their money. On the NFC, again, if the refs don't get involved, I think the Saints should be able to pull it off. I think they can create enough defensive pressure to make Tom Brady human. That's how you beat him. At the end of the day, if you can get to him with 4, you can beat him. And the Saints have done that twice this year. I don't see why they can't do it a third time. And I think this time, for the first time, they're completely healthy. So that's a plus. What's the other NFC game? The Rams and
Rams, Seahawks, Washington and
Washington
and
Rams
and the Bucks.
So
which game are we missing?
It's Rams. It's Rams and Washington. It's only 2 games, right?
Yeah.
Rams, Washington, and not Washington. Yeah, the Redskins and Rams. Well, Washington.
No. Washington lost. They lost to the Bucks.
Oh yeah, they did lost though.
So but the Rams beat Seattle. So the Rams. Okay, Rams. Packers.
Yeah.
I would naturally pick the Packers there. Again, anything can happen, but Packers should be. They're rested. They're home. They'll be fine. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I'll go as far as the championship games. I will go with Packers Saints, Bills Chiefs. Who do the Bills play next? I just want to make sure that they're not playing each other this week. Who
Bills are playing the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, and so the Browns are playing the Chiefs.
Yep.
Yeah, there's another team that's making noise.
Yeah,
overlooked. Everybody wants to look at them.
The way that they played against Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
they're gonna have a real good chance against the Chiefs.
yeah. Listen, the Saints almost beat them. We were. I remember when we played them, we were unhealthy. We had a bunch of people out. We generated enough pressure to make Mahomes human. We just didn't have enough. They're beatable. And so I think if the Browns defense can create pressure, anything can happen. So for now, I'll go with Saints Packers in the championship and Bills Chiefs. I don't know who's going to win those though. That's as tight as it gets for me right now. I know who I'd want to win, obviously. But no, that's about as far as I can go.
I won't get too far in depth, but I have the Saints and Chiefs in the bowl at the championship. That's my pick. Those are my 2. I don't know who will win after that, but I have those 2 going. But yeah,
I got Bill Packers myself.
Bill Packers, okay. What you got, Frank?
Yeah,
I'm going with the Chiefs and the Saints.
Word. Okay, all right. So yeah, we'll see what happens, and then we'll plug it in as it goes. But hey, usually we end up with some other things. There's a couple other things on the docket, but it's been a solid 2 hours, and I want to keep this on a good note. So what I will say is make sure you guys check out Frank and Carlos on Speaking It Real. They debut this week on the CMG Podcast Network. As you guys can tell, you guys pretty much, listeners, you guys have had a pretty much good idea of what that will entail and the views and viewpoints. So I'm definitely going to be tuned in. Make sure you guys are tuned in. As far as I'll pitch you off shortly, make sure you guys tune in next week as we will be discussing Soho Karen, a.k.a. Maya Poinsettia, the racist who decided to attack a young black man over a cell phone. There's so much more information about this female, this woman, this racist, who's also an alcoholic, who's also a drunk, who also has a bunch of other criminal ties to her. So yeah, we're going to get into that kind of this week, but yeah, that's going to be highlighted next week on Yep, That's Racist, as well as digging into the mayor of Chicago. I've been wanting to dig into her in this situation a little bit more, and there's some more things coming to light with her and Miss Anjanette Young. So make sure you guys are keeping in tune. Oh, also, Frank has some of the merch on there. Make sure you guys check out. He has to Speak to Me in Person the same way you do on Facebook merch. He also has the mug going on.
Yeah, right.
If you guys going out, if you go to outfishcallshortly.com, new merch is available. We have our PBK shirts, special edition, limited edition PBK shirts, in support of the Proud Boy Kitchen. Carlos, I don't know if you're probably not too familiar, but I despise the Proud Boys. I've always despised the Proud Boys. So any shot or any chance that I do get to shit on the Proud Boys, I do. So I have a new shirt of cooked rotisserie chicken, proudly from the Proud Boy Kitchen. Also, we have the our First Amendment. We only have one rule here on Carlos on I'll Piss You Off Shortly, and that's don't be an asshole.
An asshole. And
that's the only rule on I'll Piss You Off Shortly, and that pertains to just in life. Don't be an asshole. Treat people the same way you want to be treated, and just don't be a fucking asshole. If you don't be an asshole, we can get so much further in life. You know what I mean? Which is so kind of like it's funny, you know, coming from this podcast. But for real, don't be an asshole. So much shit in life can go so much further. So we have the Don't Be an Asshole t-shirts. We also have women's crop tops. We also have kids. If you have children that you know that will piss you off shortly, kids that have that mouth that they set things up. Joe says it all the time. You know, kids should be anti-bully, but also toughening up the person that's being bullied. So in my mind, I'll piss you off kid. Piss you off shortly kid is a kid that will check the bully, tell a bully to go somewhere, but then also pick up the kid that was being bullied and tell him to toughen up and stop being a pussy. So if you have that kind of kid, definitely go get him a I'll Piss You Off Shortly shirt. And yeah, go from there. By all means, Carlos, if you got to get out of here, by all means, thank you so much for being on here.
Hey, real quick, and I'm only asking this because I can't see the information. Like, how many people are listening? Like, I don't see the numbers anywhere.
So from throughout the steady stream, we had on the highest peak, I think I saw like 17 views at one time.
Oh no, there was more than that, dude. There was like 22 at the peak.
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's cool.
Right. It's gonna be a good one. This one's gonna end up with I'm gonna bet a couple thousand views for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. So usually we usually see a couple numbers a couple days afterwards, and they use spikes. So yeah, we'll definitely let you know.
All right, cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. We get some views over here. We get some views, and it's constantly growing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, thanks again for the opportunity.
Oh, definitely, Carlos. We'll definitely have you again, and hopefully I can be on you guys' show one time too.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Frank, right. When you're all said and done, give me a call. I'll be up.
So, but yeah, so
that
was good. That was fun. I was definitely expecting to go to war per se, but you know, Carlos is a good guy. And I'm glad it didn't turn out to be the massacre because I was ready.
Oh, I know you were. I was like, you know, I had text Carlos on the side beforehand. I'm like, hey, listen, get ready. You know, hold on to your pants.
Guys, I didn't give him any idea of what we'd be talking about before he got here. I mean, dude, he was flying totally unprepared, had no idea what we were going to talk about, and I got to tell you, he really handled himself well.
And that's go ahead.
Look, throughout the years that I've known this guy, you know, he's always been very cool, calm, collective. You know, it's probably one of the reasons why we get along, because when I bounce off, and it's gonna happen, you know, I'm gonna bounce off, and I guarantee you he's gonna be the one to be super mellow, just like the same way he was here, because you guys were going at it. I'm like, oh
that's
my god,
nuts, dude! I hate that. I'm like screaming at him, and he was like smiling. And he was like, well, I'm gonna have to disagree with that. Come on, man! No!
It's kill him with kindness.
Yeah, you got to. But you have on. And go ahead, Joe.
Reasonable conversations. I think that's all you could ask for right now.
And that's all we've been looking for. I've wanted somebody on here with a hard set conservative view, or you know, that kind of mindset. And let's peel the onion back. Not saying that I'm trying to change your mindset, but I wanted one. He understand what your mental's like, understand where your mindset's going, and see where we go from there. You know, especially he wasn't a conservative that was still kind of stuck in the mindset of, you know, super pro MAGA. It seems like he's like, hey, I was with the shits, but now y'all motherfuckers took it too far, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? But
I was hoping that a lot of my followers, that were commenting on Wednesday would jump on board. But man,
see, and that's the thing, they're not going to do that. And I'm starting to realize that.
And mind you, I was sending private messages out. I'm like, hey, come on, you could run your mouth. Let's do it now. Let's, I go, speak your mind. We're going to speak ours.
Yeah. No, they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that, which is cool. But I have something for that ass. If they don't want to come join, I will bring the smoke to them. And you guys will see shortly. I'll piss you off shortly. Has something in the works, some great content coming up, which is definitely going to stir the pot a little bit. But outside of that, man, I appreciate you fellas coming on tonight. It's been a great episode. We were going to talk about impeachment a little bit, but I think we're going to hit that next week because I want to see kind of what foils, what transpires in the news this week. And then a couple other things. There was the video. I did want to show Ashley Babbitt getting smoked because I finally got a good video of that. But I guess we won't show that. But I'm sorry. Every time I see that video, her trying to creep through that window and then get her ass popped. One shot, yeah. But I know that's bad for me to say. But hey, she's a terrorist. That's what happens.
Hey man, look, it's simple. It's like I said at the beginning. You want to protest, that's fine. You want to walk down the streets, that's fine. You want to drive in your car, all right, hold up your Trump flags, all right, with a freaking bunch of other people. Hey, that's great. That's why we live in this country.
Yeah.
Right. But the moment you start being destructive, all right, breaking into federal buildings, all right, doing shit you're not supposed to do, you're gonna get what's coming for you. And if it costs your life, so be it. That's your problem. I don't feel bad for that person. Only if I think people that I feel bad for, okay, it's probably their family that has to deal with the stupid actions that they perform.
And she's probably not going to get her military compensation either. Her SGLI, none of that.
Probably not.
Which I hope she don't.
She doesn't deserve it. She doesn't deserve it. As a matter of fact, where'd I put it? Damn, somewhere over there. I just took it upstairs. I served this country. I enjoyed it. And I don't respect people that disrespect this country like that. Hands down. We could have different views, but I won't respect you. I don't give a fuck. All these people that burn the flag, one or the other, screw that. I'm not up for that. And you want to break into stuff like that and just stupid shit? Do you really have a place here? No.
All right. Put them with the rest of the terrorists. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Well, appreciate everybody for listening this week. This has been a fun episode. Make sure you guys tune in to Frank and Carlos this Friday with their podcast, and make sure you guys tune into us every Monday night. Tuesdays, the audio drops. You can find us anywhere you can find any podcast on all podcast media, audio platforms, so forth. Make sure you guys go to www.clovercrestmedia.com/I'll piss you off shortly to get all of your audio and share. Hey, everybody, I appreciate you guys so much for listening. If you guys are our live viewers, thank you so much for listening, commenting. Make sure you guys are liking. If you watch this episode, make sure you guys share it at least once. Give me a like, thumbs up, something. Keep going in the comments. Let somebody know about this show. Let somebody else know. And then also try and get on Clubhouse. If you guys have an iPhone, I think I'm going to try and start like an I'll Piss You Off Shortly room, maybe on like Sunday nights, and maybe kind of do like a pre-game. So yeah, if you guys got an iPhone, if you guys are on Clubhouse, try and get on Clubhouse. I'm not giving out no more invitations, even though I hit somebody up on Clubhouse and they blessed me with another couple invites. I'm starting to build like a nice little like network on Clubhouse, which is cool. But like, I don't want to say I'm a Clubhouse influencer because I'm definitely not. But I'd be in the Clubhouse. So make sure you guys are joining. Make sure you guys are tuning in every Monday. Like I said. Hey, merch store is up. I'm not going to say it again. Yes, I am going to say it again. I lied. Merch store is up. I'll piss you off shortly.com. That's how we are supported here. Also, we're supported by Cash App. $ I'll piss you off shortly. And this is how we fund this thing every week for you guys. We've been going 25 plus weeks strong. And we're going to keep going. 2021 is getting better, more content, different content's coming up, engaging with you guys more, engaging with the community. So be sure to look out for that. And we're still using the code Pissed Off 15. And also, since I was talking about merch, if you are looking to be an I'll Piss You Off Shortly ambassador, I'm looking for 5. I have two already signed up, but I will give you your own merch code. We will talk about how you can help promote, and then you can also make some money, a little bit of change, a little bit of pocket change with your own merch code and all that. So I have two signed up to be on board, looking for 3 more slots, 5 in total. So hit me up. Once again, I'm Rob Benjamin. That's Frank Cuesta. That's Joe Guire. This is I'll Piss You Off Shortly. I'm hicking up like a motherfucker. You guys have a good night.
One day. I'm gonna get it right one day. Hey, remember how many times you used to do the messages for your voicemail? It goes something like this. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for locking into another episode of I'll Piss You Off Shortly. This is the podcast where we debate everyday issues, pushing your thought process beyond what's normal. The topics discussed here are meant to be intense, promote growth, and at times may have you feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Me too, a little bit. We may not always agree, and we will more than likely have varied opinions. But with that being said, I can't promise to be your favorite podcaster. Neither do I want to. But I can promise to be transparent, fair, and open-minded. So please, if you think you've got the stamina, passion to debate, analyze, and challenge the normal, please take a number. I promise you, I'll piss you off shortly. Hey, mama, I got a podcast. Hey, I got a podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event.
When I was 12 years old, I became a Jack Nicholson superfan. This happened almost overnight on an evening in February 1997 when I first saw The Shining.
Here's Johnny!
In those 20 plus years, I never stopped being a Jack superfan.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Get ready for You Don't Know Jack, hosted by me. Subscribe today on your favorite podcast platform.
I would just like to point out that a few weeks ago, Jace said that Mac Jones was garbage.
Hurry up here for Alabama. Play action. Mac Jones wants it all. Long ball, man there. Got him. Mechie, touchdown.
I'm not sold on Mac Jones.
In the red zone, Alabama with 3 minutes and change remaining in the half. Jones fires to the corner. Devontae Smith. Touchdown, Alabama.